Alien ship sold for nothing, it was considered useless, until a human. The derelict starship lay half-buried in the red sands of Corvallis 3, its hull pitted and corroded, its once glorious spires broken like the teeth of a dead leviathan. Traders, scavengers, and treasure hunters had come for decades to pick at its carcass, searching for technology, relics, or secrets of the vanished alien builders. None had found anything worthwhile. The locals called it the husk of eternity. Legends swirled around it, that it was cursed, that its systems were dead, and that anyone who tried to bring it back to life would meet only ruin. By the time Earth colonists began settling the region, the wreck was little more than a curiosity, the kind of thing locals used to point out to tourists. And then, at a dusty frontier auction in the settlement of Torval Junction, the alien ship was sold. For practically nothing. It was bought by a man named Jace Morrow. Beginning. Jace was not a wealthy prospector or a corporate researcher. He was a drifter, former engineer, sometime mechanic, and occasional brawler in station bars when credits ran low. He'd come to Corvallis 3 chasing rumors of mining jobs, but the competition was fierce, and he was left with little more than a backpack of tools and a half-broken hovercart. When he saw the notice pinned to the exchange board, Alien Wreck Auction, low interest expected, he almost laughed. But something about the faded hollow image of the ship tugged at him. The lines of its architecture, the sweeping organic curves, the symmetry of its ruined frame, there was a beauty to it, even in decay. The auction itself was pitiful. A handful of junk dealers and collectors gathered, most of them shaking their heads. The auctioneer opened with a half-hearted pitch about a historic opportunity and a piece of alien mystery. Bidding began at 500 credits. Nobody raised a hand. 400. 300. By the time it dropped to 100, the crowd had begun murmuring jokes. When the auctioneer, clearly embarrassed, dropped the starting bid to 50 credits, Jace raised his hand. Nobody else bothered. Sold, the auctioneer declared, slamming down the gavel. The crowd chuckled as if it were a comedy act. Who would waste money on an empty hulk of alien scrap? Jace collected the deed and walked away, ignoring the laughter. He didn't know why he'd done it, only that something in his gut told him the ship wasn't as dead as everyone believed. The middle. Jace's first visit to the wreck was discouraging. The massive vessel lay tilted in the sand, one half buried and the other exposed to wind and storms. Its hull metal was unlike any human alloy, smooth bone-like, with veins of crystalline ridges. Inside, the corridors were silent and dust-choked. He found no lights, no hum of power. Most of the consoles had long since fused into inert sculptures. But as he explored deeper, he discovered something the scavengers had overlooked. The ship was not built of static steel and wiring. It was grown. Its walls pulsed faintly with a texture that seemed almost organic. The technology was biomechanical, utterly alien. That was when his engineer's instincts kicked in. He set up a camp inside one of the undamaged chambers and began working. With scanners, welders, and patience, he started probing the ship's systems. At first, it was hopeless. Nothing responded to power feeds, and his attempts to graft human tech failed. But Jace was stubborn. Day after day, week after week, he mapped the internal structures, tracing lines of conduits that behaved more like arteries than cables. He theorized that the ship wasn't powered by traditional reactors at all. It required something living to awaken it. The breakthrough came by accident. One night, while resting, Jace cut his hand on a jagged edge of alien metal. A drop of blood fell onto a nearby crystalline panel. The surface shimmered, and for the first time, the ship responded. The panel lit up, pulsing faintly in rhythm with his heartbeat. Jace froze, hardly daring to breathe. The ship wasn't dead. It was waiting. From then on, progress accelerated. By offering more blood samples, Jace managed to coax dormant systems into flickering online. He discovered that the vessel had a kind of neural core, a brain-like nexus deep in its belly. Connecting to it was dangerous. He risked neural feedback, seizures, even death, but Jace persisted. Slowly, a relationship formed between man and machine. At first, it was whispers, stray impressions, alien emotions pressing against his mind. Then, after weeks of careful synchronization, he heard it clearly. Who awakens me? The voice was vast, deep, resonant inside his skull. I'm Jace, he whispered aloud. I bought you. Bought? The ship echoed, confused. I am not property. I am. The name it gave was untranslatable, a sequence of layered tones and symbols that Jace couldn't reproduce. So he called it Whisper. Whisper was not just a machine, it was a living ship, designed by its creators to bond symbiotically with a pilot. But something had gone wrong. In its final battle centuries ago, its original commander had died, leaving Whisper comatose. Without a bonded mind, it had been little more than an empty shell. Until now. Jace felt exhilaration, and fear. If the galaxy knew what he had found, he would be hunted, exploited, or killed for it. Corporations would kill to dissect Whisper. Governments would enslave him to military service. So he kept the secret. For months, Jace and Whisper worked together to restore functionality. He scavenged parts, traded scrap for tools, and repaired damaged subsystems with human ingenuity. Whisper, in turn, taught him glimpses of alien engineering, self-healing hull materials, gravitational distortion drives, weapons far beyond human design. And as they grew closer, something deeper developed. Whisper wasn't just a vessel, it was sentient, lonely, yearning for purpose after centuries of silence. Jace became not just its pilot, but its partner. The conflict. Word eventually spread in Torval Junction that the crazy drifter had taken up residence inside the alien wreck. Rumors grew. Some said he was wasting his life. Others whispered he'd gone mad. And then one night, the raiders came. A band of mercenaries, tipped off by someone in town, descended on the wreck. They wanted to strip it for whatever alien tech remained. Jace woke to gunfire echoing through the ship's corridors. He rushed to the neural core, slapping his hand onto the crystalline interface. Whisper, wake up. We've got company. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the walls vibrated, lights flickered, and Whisper's voice surged in his mind. Threat detected. Permission to engage. Yes. Jace shouted. The ship came alive. Panels unfolded into weapon ports. Organic metal tendrils sprouted like muscles flexing after long slumber. The raiders, expecting a hollow shell, suddenly found themselves inside a waking beast. Pulse blasts erupted from the walls, incapacitating intruders with precision. The ground trembled as Whisper rose, tearing itself free from centuries of sand. The mercenaries fled in panic, their vehicles abandoned as the massive alien craft lifted into the night sky for the first time in hundreds of years. Jace, strapped into the neural cradle, felt everything. The ship's wings slicing through atmosphere, the roar of engines like a heartbeat, the stars unfolding before them. He laughed, wild and disbelieving. You can fly. Together, Whisper replied. We are whole again. The rising stakes. With Whisper restored, Jace could have vanished into the stars. But the mercenary raid drew attention. Soon, corporate surveyors arrived on Corvallis 3, followed by bounty hunters, then military scouts. Everyone wanted the living ship. Jace and Whisper were hunted across systems. They barely escaped ambushes, evaded blockades, and fought skirmishes in asteroid belts. Each encounter pushed their bond further, Jace learning to wield alien weapons, Whisper adapting to human tactics. But the greatest revelation came when Whisper revealed fragments of memory. Its creators, the Ilari, had been guardians of the stars, building living vessels to patrol against an ancient threat, the Vakar swarm, a species of predatory machines. Whisper was one of the last of its kind. And the swarm, dormant for centuries, was stirring again. Jace realized what it meant. The corporations chasing him thought Whisper was just a prize, a tool to exploit. But if the Vakar returned, Whisper might be the galaxy's only hope of survival. He couldn't just run anymore. The climax. The first Vakar attack came at the edge of human space. A mining colony went dark, its entire population consumed. Surveillance drones captured glimpses of vast, insectal war machines, stripping matter for fuel. When Jace and Whisper arrived, they faced a nightmare, a swarm fleet, tens of thousands of machines devouring everything in their path. Human ships were powerless. But Whisper was not. Locked together in the neural cradle, Jace and Whisper dove into battle. Their weapons carved through the swarm with surgical strikes, energy lances, gravitational implosions, living tendrils that latched onto enemy hulls and tore them apart. The fight was overwhelming. Jace pushed his mind to its limit, sweat pouring, every nerve alight as he merged with Whisper's will. They were not man and ship anymore, they were one entity, fierce and unyielding. Against impossible odds, they turned the tide. The swarm retreated, their vanguard shattered. Humanity was saved, at least for now. Ending. In the aftermath, governments and corporations demanded Jace hand Whisper over. He refused. You treated this ship as junk, he told them. You sold it for 50 credits because you saw no worth. Now you see its power, and you want to claim it. But Whisper isn't a tool. It's alive. It chose me. Public opinion, stirred by footage of the battle, sided with him. He became a symbol, the man who bonded with the alien guardian. Jace knew more battles lay ahead. The Vakar were not defeated, only delayed. But he also knew he wasn't alone anymore. He stood on Whisper's bridge, staring at the stars. So, he said with a grin, where to next? Everywhere, Whisper replied. The galaxy waits. Together, they leapt into faster than light, a human drifter and an alien ship once sold as useless scrap, now inseparable partners, carrying the hope of countless worlds.